You know, when I think about passion, I think passion is a very misunderstood concept. People see movies in Hollywood and they think it's about a feeling, and you give yourself to that feeling, and then the feeling goes away and then you become passionate about something else. But when I think of passion, I think of something you're willing to sacrifice for, something you're willing to make exception for. And so for me, ultimately, my passion is directed towards God. And it's not something, I don't think of God as my hobby. I think of Him as my obsession. And so I want to be passionate about God. And it's something I do sacrifice for. It's something I rearrange my schedule about. The decisions I make in my life are about passion. And then I don't want it to end there, though. I don't want to be so narcissistic and so consumed and not think about what God thinks about. Because what did He sacrifice for, right? I mean, He sacrificed His own Son. And so He came down to earth, lived among us, had human flesh because He loves human beings. And so I need to grow in my passion then for what God is passionate about, which is people. And so I want to make that my mission. But I'll be honest, it's easier to be passionate for God than it is to be passionate for people. People sometimes are mean, they do rude things, they gossip, they lie, they steal, and we see their weakness up close and personal, where God is perfect. So it's easy to be passionate about Him in a way. Although we don't see Him, we can't touch Him, and so we have to remind ourselves who He is when we live passionately for Him. But when I look at people, I think, wow, God saw all of it. He knew what He was getting into when He came to earth and still chose to come, still chose to be passionate about us. And so I need to get my passions in line with what God is passionate about. And He's passionate about people. So I need to grow in my passion for people. And I think about, Jesus said all the 10 commandments we can condense into 2. To love God with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and then to love your neighbor as yourself. And so to love my neighbor as myself involves being passionate for people, like Jesus is passionate for us, like I'm growing in my passion for Him. Because I'm not seeing great examples of passion right now. Because right now we see, it's really unbridled lust that people are calling passion. It's an obsession with a human being, and it's all about you. It's all about what you get. And I think there's another way to live. I think if I'm passionate about something, I do want to sacrifice for it. I do want to rearrange my life around what I am passionate for. And so I want to call people to put their passion in God, because He's unchanging. No one created God, which is mind-blowing concept. He's always existed. He always will be. We're meant to be passionate for Him. And so I want to call women to passion for Him. And I want to call women to sustain that passion for Him by feeding themselves on who He is, what He's like, what He does, how He acts, getting to know Him. And then what I've discovered in my discovery of Him is that when I know more of Him, then my passion for Him grows. So it's a relationship. It's growing. It's changing. I don't want to be stagnant in my understanding of being passionate for God. And I don't want to be paused in my passion for people as well. Even when they're mean. That's the hard part. Because sometimes they're mean. And I still have to learn to be passionate for them. So those are just some random thoughts about passion.